episode of Rockin Motors is brought to you by Cigarette Racing Team, the American offshore legend. Welcome to Rockin Motors. I'm your host, Una O'Connell, and today we're continuing in our three-part series on motorcycles. This is our second motorcycle we're going to look at, and we're again here with Gary McGoran at his South Florida shop. Gary, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for coming back.
No problem. So what are we looking at right here?
This is a 1961 Harley Davidson XLCH. Back in the days before electric starters, this only has a Kickstarter. And back in the 60s when this was built, they came with different tires than what you see today. They came with Goodyear Grasshopper tires, meaning that the bikes were, you could take them out in the dirt or you could take them on the road. So that's what I have right now is the semi-knobby tires on this bike. So I've owned this bike for quite a long time.
Yeah. Now Gary, tell me a little bit about the engine specs on this bike.
The engine on this bike is a 900cc Harley Davidson XLCH motor with sifting cams, and as you know, things have improved over the years. Now we have updated carburetors. I have an S&S carburetor on this bike, and it starts really easy. Usually 2 or 3 kicks I can get this bike started.
Now the paint job is really beautiful on this bike. What kind of colors did you use here?
Well, what I did was I always have to have something different than anybody else, so I decided to go with candy apple red and pearl white. It's similar to the Harley Davidson factory paint job, but I always like to change up a little bit. And the seat, just like the seat, trying to get a seat to match that color. What's unusual about the seat is it's a solo seat and it has suspension in the seat, you know, for shocking. And the other thing unusual about the bike is the tires. The tires are semi-knobbies, and back in the day we used to take these bikes out in the mud. It's hard to believe that, but we did. A big heavy bike like this, and the exhaust pipes are aftermarket exhaust pipes with the S&S carburetor, so they give it a little bit more power. And it's still a kickstart motorcycle, and it'll kick you over the handlebars real easy.
What kind of engine powers this bike?
Well, this one here, it has different cams in it. It's 900 cc's. It has sifting cams in it, and it has an upgraded carburetor on it. But back in the days before electric starts, it had a magneto on it. As you can see, this is the way you turn it to get it started. One way advances it, the other way retards it, so it doesn't knock you over the handlebars when you try to kickstart it. So that's what's unusual about this bike, that back in the day, everything was magneto, no electric start, 6-volt system, you know, so that's unusual to see bikes like this up today.
Now, would our audience recognize this bike from any kind of movies? Or?
Yeah, I think back in the 70s, early 70s, they had a movie, Then Came Bronson, and I remember working at the Harley shop, and we couldn't keep enough of these bikes in stock. Once the movie came out, everybody wanted a Sportster or an XLCH. The difference being XLCH is kickstart, the Sportster is electric start. This one here will knock you over the handlebars if you don't get the magneto in the right position. So that's the difference. But yeah, these bikes are very popular back in the 70s and the 60s.
For the latest episodes and behind-the-scenes footage, check out www.rockinmotors.tv. If you're located in South Florida and you have a hot ride or a cool club that you'd like me to review, just email me at una@rockinmotors.com. For sponsorship information, email sponsors@rockinmotors.com.
Extra, something extra. Posies for the girlfriend? Yes, sir, and an extra blossom Elmer to wear in his buttonhole. Everyone likes that little something extra. A dozen rolls, and the baker tosses in an extra one to make it a baker's dozen. The butcher throws in an extra bone for the bow wow. Every locality has a different name for it. Way down east in New England, they call it something to boot. In the deep south, they call it lanyard. At your neighborhood service station, they call it Esso. The new Esso gives you premium performance, unexcelled at regular price. And the new Esso Extra is unexcelled at any price. Extra quick starts, extra power, extra anti-knock. You can take your choice. These two great gasolines are both extra value for the money.
For service that is tops and gas that's extra fine, there's a smile for every mile at the Esso sign. E-S-S-O makes your car go. Happy motoring.